95% of your life is coming from the subconscious. So all you have to do is look at your life and just look at it and say, for what? I say, what comes to you that you want and it comes to you easily, you have programs to allow that to happen. But what you struggle with, what you work hard on, what you have to put a lot of effort into, why are you working so hard? And the answer is simple, because you have an invisible program that is sabotaging you from that point. So now all of a sudden you say, well, what do I need to change? I say, well, look at your life and tell me what you're having trouble with, because that's the direct expression of a program that's not supporting you.
There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. But basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long. And once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life.
Crossing that river of change, the creative process now gets exciting, because what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What kind of attention and intention do you want to place so that that becomes the loudest voice in your head? And if you keep practicing it, the hardware becomes a software program, and it'll say, Jay, you can do anything. Jay, you live in no time and accomplish everything. Jay, you're unlimited. You just got to hang with it. On the other side of this is greatness. Whatever you want to program in there, you get to program in there.
Do we love ourselves enough to put the energy, to put the work into being honest, truthful, and factual with ourselves so that we can become the best version of ourselves possible? Ultimately, it boils down to something that simple. And it can be as complex as we choose to make it. But as a scientist, I have to tell you, life is simple, nature is simple, until we make it complex with symbols and words and mathematics. So it all comes down to love. Do we love ourselves enough to put the energy into being honest with ourselves about who we are?
As we learn to love ourselves and trust our higher power, we become co-creators with the infinite spirit of a loving world. Our love for ourselves moves us from being victims to being winners. Our love for ourselves attracts wonderful experiences to us. Have you ever noticed that people who feel good about themselves are naturally attractive? They usually have a quality about them that is just wonderful. They are happy with their lives. Things come to them easily and effortlessly.
What would be the reprogramming that you would share with someone who grew up, like a majority of people maybe, who didn't have like the wealthiest parents, and they were programmed that, money is the root of all evil, or it's hard to make money, or we never have enough to buy what we want?
Well, that's the negative programming. That's the one that keeps you poor all the time.
What would be the new script to reprogram, and how effective would it be for someone to do this right before they go to sleep with the new script?
Well, anything that you put in your mind consciously before you go to sleep is still lingering in there as you go to sleep. So it's like fomenting inside. Okay. I think the very first thing is this. Even before the money, I said, what was the first one? I said, you have to love yourself, because that means you will take care of yourself. And people don't love themselves, they don't take care of themselves. And you know that. You've seen people physiologically fall apart in front of your face because they don't take care of themselves. Why? They
make poor choices with their nutrition or working out or
everything's not relevant. But if they have a pet, oh man, my pet's going to get the best food. My pet's going to get the best health care. I'm going to, take care of this pet. Do they take care of themselves? Not as good as they take care of the pet. Right away, there's your problem. So number one is, first, identify you love yourself, because then everything you do after that will be supporting your love. Okay? Then, deservability. I do not deserve. Right, well, that's what I was programmed. I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not beautiful enough, whatever. I go, you better start programming, I deserve X, I deserve Y, okay? Not I will deserve, I deserve.
Right.
Again, I just want to emphasize that, because any futurism in the subconscious mind doesn't work, because subconscious doesn't see future, it just sees the moment. So if you record, I will be wealthy, I will be healthy. I say, when's that going to happen? I go, well, put it in the record. Come back next year, Lewis, and let's push the button. And it says, I will be healthy. And I go,
You're still not there. Yeah.
can't get there because I never said you were there. You're only in a want. You can't get there. So the idea is that's why everything go back to, it has to be in the present tense. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am this, and I am lovable. You know, so that's really important. That's if you don't do that right, then, but you can always reprogram. That's the big part.
Sure.
I screwed it up. Well, then reprogram it again. You can do it.
We decide to change. Throwing up our hands in horror at what we may call the mess of our lives and just giving up are the ways many people react. Others get angry at themselves or at life and also give up. By giving up, I mean deciding it's all hopeless and impossible to make any changes, so why try? The rest of it goes, just stay the way you are. At least you know how to handle that pain. You don't like it, but it's familiar, and you hope it won't get any worse. To me, habitual anger is like sitting in a corner with a dunce hat on. Does this sound familiar? Something happens and you get angry. Something else happens and you get angry again. Something else happens and once again you get angry. But you never go beyond getting angry. What good does that do? It seems foolish to waste your time getting angry. It's also a refusal to see life in a new and different way. It would be helpful to ask yourself how you are creating so many situations to become angry at. What are you believing that causes all these frustrations? What are you giving out that attracts in others the need to irritate you? Why do you believe that to get your way, you need to get angry? Whatever you give out comes back to you. The more you give out anger, the more you are creating situations for you to get angry at, like sitting in a corner wearing a dunce hat, going nowhere. Do these statements bring up feelings of anger? Good. It must be hitting home. This is something you could be willing to change. Make a decision to be willing to change. If you really want to know how stubborn you are, just approach the idea of being willing to change. We all want to change, to have situations become better and easier. However, we do not want to change. We would rather they change. In order to have this happen, we must change inside. We must change our way of thinking, change our way of speaking, change our way of expressing ourselves. Only then will the outer changes occur. This is the next step. We are now fairly clear on what the problems are and where they come from. Now it is time to be willing to change.